Good day. This is George Lees tracking down the real story about the Grenfell Tower, which, like all of the stories about the terror in London, are covers for our richest people on the globe. Yeah, do you get it? Deutsche Morgan Grenfell Group, Public Limited Company, Joyce Grenfell St Trinian's hockey sticks. Yeah, and let me show you with Baroness Chalker, the notorious socialist, how you've got Lord. This is the British Executive Service Overseas Companies Limited, Mr. Christopher Reginald Reeves, the banker, not Superman, and we go down and we find on the boards, yeah, to obfuscate all of this, loads of lords, loads of knights, yeah, and next page, riddle frame, Duncan, Right Honourable Baroness Linda Chalker of Wolseley, and there is the cubies, and I thought we had a person that was one of the banking. So there's Christopher Reginald Reeves, Horton Baines, Peter William Lloyd Morgan, Right Honourable Lord Howard of Guildford, Lord George Ailey McNeill Robertson of NATO and of Dundee. Okay, Lord Robertson of Dunblane, yeah, that's the Dunblane massacre. There are the bankers of Grafham, the bankers of Rutland, Lord David Ivor Young, and that will be the Paraffin Youngs of the Rockefeller dynasty. Where is the person that is the... I thought it was in here. Baroness Chalker, Reeves, the US bankers and many peers. So Superman related. So this is not the banker that is Christopher Reeves, but he is just the cover for the banker that is Christopher Reeves. This is that Reeve, okay? Stark Heseltine, a high-powered agent who discovered Robert Redford, launched this man into public life, like Susan Sarandon, Michael Douglas and Richard Chamberlain. Yeah, that is a relative of Jean Pitney and the Bradfords on the Mayflower. Let me get you the evidence for Christopher Reeve number 2 being worthy of God's wrath. Okay, there's family Franklin Dollier and Malon Pitney, great-grandfather. Yeah, the Dundonians have revealed for me that Jean Pitney is in the Pi Pi Piso Pitney bloodline. Okay, Reeve's mother was the granddaughter of Malon Pitney, a US Supreme Court Justice and descendant of William Bradford on the Mayflower. Okay, I'm going to get on with it and just show you everything that there is to declare. I cannot see why I could not find on Baroness Chalker's listing the hockey sticks joke. The woman is actually called Hockey, not hockey as in Ireland, yet with Mrs. Robinson. I don't know what we've done with it. So there's the Morgan Grenfell tab. Let me show you that. Craven is on these boards. Net worth, that's John Craven's cover. Everyone has an acting cover. That is Craven, that was on the BBC as a news hound, I think. May have been light entertainment. All of it is the same joke. There is Joyce Grenfell playing St Trinian's hockey sticks, and there is Morgan Grenfell in German green on Great Winchester Street, London, EC2 P2AX. Yeah, and all of that time in the making of those movies, yeah, they've had to put a new actress in, and they've made a new St Trinian's, so no one could find the name Grenfell associated with the trivia that comes out as the false news and the covers for all the great terror events in our world. Yeah, and there's the release of the Public Limited Company with share company, yeah, incorporated on November 1971. Deutsche Morgan Grenfell Group. Okay, you get the Towers now, and everything that they tell you is a lie. Sir John Anthony Craven, the boss at the Deutsche Bank, which Gordon Bowden and I have been discussing for over 3 years now. Yeah, that is the Ian Fleming crimes, all of the Fleming family companies that lead to determining the future of Syria. Yeah, they incorporate Sir David Steele, who is the patron of the building of the decrepit building that is the Hollywood Parliament, and my representative in Bonnie Dundee. Yeah, come pick up your come pick up your cans, come saddle your horses and call out your men. Yet they are genuine revolutionary people, and all of the ordinary people of this massive city, 5th biggest in Scotland I believe, yet they have been making sandbags for all the great conflicts funded by the Fleming Bank, but no one in this city has ever heard of the Fleming Bank. Mr. Richard Paul Elliston, yeah, all of the names that are now on the rich list and cover-ups, yeah, there are the financials of that company. I still cannot find, oh, and here is, on this company, the Earl of Home, David Alexander Cospatrick Home, son of the Prime Minister, or that could actually be him, Alec Douglas Home. Yeah, do you get it? The Black Douglases, all of those massive, and there are the Brookses coming in, there are the Bensons. They were my colleagues in the pharmaceutical industry, and they led me into this through the massive boardrooms of Martin Sorrell and all the massive advertising companies that include Saatchi and Saatchi, that have had the massive divorces in their families, and that is Chancellor Lawson's daughter with the big tits and the chef programme on the telly. Okay, let's go to the bottom and see if we can find the person that is there it is, Miss Theresa Catherine McCarthy Hockey, the St Trinian's icon, for obfuscation of the fact that Christopher Reeves is on the board here, and he is on the board at the Bank of England. Yeah, Morgan Grenfell and the Bank of England with his colleague Theresa May. She's been blamed for bringing down the Grenfell Tower, and I think you can now see that all of them have the guilt burden on their decrepit shoulders. Okay, Christopher Reginald Reeve. This is, see, similarly named actor who played Superman, called Christopher Reeve, who's a Mayflower passenger and is incapable of walking just before he dies. Yeah, and he's incapable of anything other than looking for a way of God to forgive him for his fall off the Piso horse. Christopher Reginald was a British banker who helped transform Morgan Grenfell from a conservative city bank into a major force in international finance, yeah, like the Fleming Bank, which became the banks that were run by Serena Dunn's ancestors, who were the Governor Generals in Canada, who were the friends of Beaverbrook, the propagandist, who was the friend of Hitler Rothschild in Germany, and all of it is the same profiteering families. Yeah, that is the Morgan links to Hannah Mary Rothschild's husband. Yeah, and that is the Morgan links to John J.P. Pierpont Morgan, that is the St. Peter joke that all of them understand. Yet there never was a Jesus, and that is the Mayflower passengers, and the man who was Billy Bradford, related to the other Reeves, was the man who wrote the Pi Pi Pilgrim Bible. For presentation to the culled 500 nations and the pagans all over America. Okay, so do you get it? That is the Bank of England man, that is Christopher Reginald Reeves. He joined Morgan Grenfell in '68 and became Group Chief Executive in 1980, appointed to be President of Merrill Lynch Capital Markets, Merrill Lynch Europe, so that's Merrill Lynch in America, Merrill Lynch of Europe, Middle East and Africa. Okay, and there is nothing else on that one. What we got here, this is his directorates, yeah, for one man who was on the Bank of England. Another role for Joyce, don't do that. That's Joyce Grenfell, who used to say, George, don't do that. And that is her saying, as a joke, that the stammering king must not take us to war. Yet, do you remember those comedies? I'm not allowed to access the internet in this house. So I have to make do with my telling you that story. George, don't do that. Talking to her school children, Joyce Grenfell, the cover for Morgan Grenfell. Yeah, and the cover for the stammering king that took us to war. Yeah, when the abdicated king was already relaxing in fascist France. Next is, so I'll show you a block of his directorates. St Andrew's Square, Edinburgh, EH2 2AD, first 2. Deutsche Morgan Grenfell Group Company, Public Company, Great Winchester Street, London, EC2P 2AX. Morgan Grenfell Cyrus, Miley Cyrus, and all the covers that they launch. Morgan Grenfell International, Winchester Street, London. Everyone written into songs and poetry. Great Winchester Street, London, Great Winchester Street, London, the Ponzi shelves. Do you get it? This is law enforcement for Miss Grenfell, the police officer in the St Trinian's movies. Yeah, with George Cole and the Cole mafias. President Cole died earlier this week. Yeah, the Star Wars news is getting out, and I met Brian Cox's niece in the pub in Elite Broughty Ferry just the other evening. Yeah, they do not try and cover anything up now. They know that they are going to be evaluated and judged, and all of it eventually will come out. They just have to live with that now. Yeah, unless they're prepared to top me. Okay, there's Morgan Grenfell Capital GP Limited. Yeah, we've moved away from Great Winchester Street to KPMG. Yeah, the new banks, restructuring, Saltire Court, Edinburgh, the false flag for St Andrew who never lived, which is the cross keys for the Vatican and the hotel chain all over Europe. Yeah, are you beginning to see why they want me silenced in safe houses that have not got the capacity to broadcast a 1 hour video? 53 results found for Morgan Grenfell. Okay, so do you get the towers now? And all those Islamists that lived in it. Morgan Grenfell Deutsche Bank, London. Craven, I think we've done this one. Yeah, we have. There is all the films that they make. Yeah, and there is the directors and secretaries for the Deutsche Bank group of companies. Schmitz, the Howard Bailey Trust, John Anthony Craven, Elliotson, Breur, yeah, the Earl of Home, yeah, where I nearly died in my car accident with Miss Schneider, who is in the family bloodlines to Benson, yeah, who is linked to the people that are the massive Anglo-Ag linkages, even to Martin Sorrell, and all those links to the advertising companies that are the Benson companies, that are the Sorrell companies, and it is also, sadly, the Ogilvy companies. That is the Ogilvies of the royal region that is Glamis Castle. Yeah, and I'm going to intend to visit there, and I hope that the royals will be there at the same time. Peter Malcolm Brooks, yeah, the Brookfields. Oh, there's the Benson links to my earliest mentor as a neuroscientist, and he's told me that if I keep talking like this, that I will be liable for a lawsuit against me. Bring it on, guys. Right, okay. and the Fletchers, Smiths, Fairley Smiths, Sebastian Clarks, yeah, Brian Ronald Cook, all the usual suspects. Next, the Superman. I think we may be able to stop there now. I think I've got the whole story in. So he, like Theresa May, has served at the Bank of England. Yeah, that's the Rothschild Bank of England, like Macron, the French president. All of them are in the same bloodlines, and the Reeves were my collaborators at the University of Otago and the Poison Centre, and we worked on Tooting. Yeah, and you can see that everything that they use is an obfuscation for Putin, who I've now learned was the KGB representative for Russia in Helen Clark's regime in the South Island of New Zealand, and they sank the Lermontov. Yeah, that's Putin, Tooting, Superman, Christopher Reeve. All of it are the Christian murderers that go all across the world, and that's Susan Sarandon, yeah, who is in that massive film, and she is linked by marriage to Boner, the speaker, and that's the Bonos that are in the bloodline that take you to Madonna, yeah, take you to all of those people that are the murderous owners of the world through world history. Yeah, and he's Superman, and the film that he made that got him his spinal injury, that made him a cripple for the rest of his days, which was not very long, yeah, the film he was making was the remains of the day, yeah, absolutely decrepit remains. Okay, the marriage of Figaro, all of the jokes, yeah, all of the jokes about freedom and Figaro being a revolutionary threat, like the citizens of Dundee might become if they are allowed to listen to my stories. Okay, and that's the Heseltine link. Heseltine was on the news this week because we're having an election, or a couple of weeks ago, and he denounced Theresa May as being an ineffective Conservative. This is the Stark Heseltine, high-powered agent who discovered Robert Redford and actors such as Richard Chamberlain, who plays in The Thornbirds the papal cardinal that shags the women naked on the beaches on Rupert Murdoch's earliest broadcasting ventures out of Australia. Michael Douglas and Susan Sarandon. Okay, so do you get it? All of the names are covers, all of the characters in that horrendous story are just replays of the person that is in financial services, and somebody pops up in the social media, in the pop singing world, like Miley Cyrus, and all of them are the Star Wars team that are now quaking, yeah, in their boots, because they know there is a God, and that God are all of his friends that created the universe that is so beautiful and has now been written out of the Bibles, that the Pi Pi Pilgrim fathers and the Bradfords, yeah, the relatives of that man, wrote. Yeah, and Jean Pitney is all over this village that I'm in, yeah, and I'm living now. If anybody wants to know where my carcass is, if I stop making the movies, I'm living on the piece of land that used to be the Timex factories for the elite companies that all moved in here after the war. Yeah, and that's the war that is engineered by all these elite families, and that is the war that he wanted to professionalise in that movie. And as soon as he made that movie, he fell off his horse, and the gods know everything that the humans have done in world history. I'm going to stop there now, okay? Oh, maybe Baroness Chalker, have we shown you that one? This is my second attempt to make a quick video, and I'm now up to 18 minutes. So let me show you this one. There's Baroness Chalker on the British Executive Service overseas with Sir Michael Caine, Sir Peter William Lloyd Morgan, yet two of the banking groups tied in, Sidney Perry, Robert Baines Horton, and Mr. Christopher Reginald Reeves of the Bank of England, and Morgan Grenfell Deutsche Bank. Yeah, shall we stop there? Yeah, no, let's go down. Lord David Klein Wilson of Tilliorn, Frank Riddle Frame, Jonathan Taylor, Christopher Stuart Duncan, the Right Honourable Baroness Linda Chalker of Wolseley, the revolutionary communist in the Labour Party. Yeah, all decrepit, resigned 2005 when I was still working away with the Reeveses in the Poison Centre, yeah, that were focused on MDMA in the Poison Centre, even in New Zealand, because that is the year that Henry Percy was murdered by his brothers, who are now the Duke of Northumberland and Lady Jane Richards. Right then. Yeah, let's stop. Although there might have been more further up that listing. That's the British Executive Service Overseas, featuring Michael fucking Caine, the Holy Roman Emperor actor, and the actor in all those vicious movies. And that is the Caines of the Jew Street in Frankfurt. And all of these have links, including Reeves the financier, to the Frankfurt homeland and fatherland in all the great conflicts for Rothschild and the Five Arrows. I'm going to stop now. Okay, let me show you once again that telling reminder that what happened in the Grenfell Towers last week is nothing to do with cladding on the building. Yeah, it is nothing to do with cladding on the building. Right, Morgan Grenfell Deutsche Bank, London. Yeah, look up on my website, which I'm not allowed to access now, yeah, because I have no access to the internet. Please, please, neighbours in the Timex region, come forward if you've watched these videos and you want to help free the world from the tyrants that still run it. And in this city, all of the philanthropists who launch the museums, that is the McManus Museum. I believe that is the joke about Mucci Anus, yeah, one of the aides in the Roman court way back when Donald's favourite emperor was running the Roman court. Yeah, that's Mucci Anus Piso. Yeah, is the museum in the heart of this place, and all of those names live on. Yeah, they're legendary. John J.P. Morgan, Pierpont Morgan. Yeah, it's all intertwined with the Bible fraud, and I'm going to bring them down. Yeah. Bye bye.